Welcome, everyone, to Talking with Tom and Jim. Tom Goldrup, Jim Goldrup. They are here with us today. They are film historians. They are actors, writers. They've traveled the world. They have amazing stories, and we're always happy to be here talking with Tom and Jim. So thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And next to me is, next to me is Daniel Dye. He's an actor, and he has all kinds of fun things in store for us today. I have no idea what I'm saying now. He's an actor, and he's here with us to discuss some things that we're going to talk about. I'm your host, Jeff Greenwalt, and I've noticed that they've got our graphics mixed up. So your name is next to mine. Can we?
Oh, yeah.
Can we switch that? Dan, I have an idea, Dan. Let's just.
Oh yeah, let's do that one.
They both disappeared. What are we going to talk about Jim, while they're gone?
Oh. This and that and the other. More of this.
Oh gosh, that's so much.
Oh yeah, technology's way better.
You know, like they have the names mixed up, and yeah. This feels better. This feels better.
This doesn't.
So welcome. Gotcha. Oh man. So I am at Daniel's house today. We just thought it would be fun to mess with you and
now
everyone.
Jeff's going to be talking for the next 5 minutes, winded because he just has to run up
flights of stairs.
Well, I went down much easier.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what went on while you were gone.
It's true.
We don't. So this will be fun. He brought up, that is a very good point that I didn't think about. So welcome, guys. We're going to talk today about the film Whistle Down the Wind, which was made in 1961. Let me catch my breath. Someone else talk about what they feel about the film. We all just watched it, so.
The first time I ever saw that film, we saw that film, Ray and Jim and I, we lived in Marin County at the time, and on Thursday nights at the Sausalito Theater, they always had, besides the regular movie that they were playing, a sneak preview. And this was the sneak preview on one of those Thursday nights. Alan Bates, this is his second film. He did a couple of TV shows before that and a film called The Entertainer, where he played Laurence Olivier's son. And this was his second film. And of course, he went on to a great career.
Yeah, 14 years after the film was made, we saw him in the play in London.
Yeah, the Otherwise Engaged, directed by Harold Pender. He won an award for that. And because Alan Bates, he concentrated a lot on theater, and the movies he did were mostly not the big money makers. He didn't care about that. He wanted to make films like Whistle Down the Wind, which were more about the character. He said later on in his career, he said he'll do a movie for free if it's a character he wants to play because he has enough money to last him the rest of his life anyway. So that was his second film. The novel was written by a lady named Mary Hayley Bell, who happened to be John Mills' wife and Hayley Mills' mother, who was the girl that discovers Alan Bates in the barn when they come to rescue three little kittens that they saved from drowning. And they were told by a Salvation Army person that Jesus would help save their little cats. And so when they brought the cats there, and they asked him who he was, he said Jesus Christ, and the cats were doing okay until later in the film. They believed he was Jesus Christ, and he's really a wife murderer on the run. Byron Forbes, his first directing film. He went on for a good career. Richard Attenborough, the actor, this is the second film he produced, and he later won the award for Oscar for directing or producing Gandhi. Alan Bates was later nominated for an award, Oscar, for The Fixer. He was given an award of some kind for the play that Jim and I saw, Otherwise Engaged, in 1975 in England. And Bernard Lee, who played the father, he's most notable for about 11 movies playing the character of M in the James Bond films.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie. It's a type of film I really like. I like the art film,
I like the
non-commercial.
black and white too.
And the black
You
and
do a
white,
lot
yeah.
of black and white photography.
Good movie.
I got to see. I know when Dan saw it for the first time last week. The first time I had ever seen it, and I'd never heard of it before until last year. I was at the British Film Institute in London, and I watched this movie with Hayley Mills herself. Which makes me seem more prestige than it was. I wasn't sitting next to her. She was actually right behind me, but she didn't know who I was or anything. But I sat and got to watch the film with her, and I got to hear her little responses or her laughter or her sometimes like, oh, yeah, And she said afterwards that she had never seen the film in front of an audience before.
Oh.
So she really enjoyed seeing an audience reaction to it. It was made geographically, timeline-wise. It was made after Pollyanna, before The Parent Trap. So this was like the prime of her Disney career. And in between those two films, she came back to England and made this movie, which was basically, the way she described it, was a very family affair. Like her mother had written it. The director, the producer were both really good friends of her parents. And it was all just kind of a very personal, independent movie, right? That they all just wanted to make based on her mom's novel. And it has that small feel to it as a film. Most of it takes place on their farm. If it's not in the farm, it's in the town. But it doesn't have a huge scope. It is a small film as far as how it's shot and everything.
Until the music kicks up. I was like, oh, this is like a small, independent film. And then they get like this orchestration coming in. I'm like, where'd you get money for that? And then you realize, maybe it's
yeah. No, I didn't mean it was a small budget, but like just small in the people working on it. It was this tight-knit group, I guess is what I should say. And she said that the book was her mother based it on her older sister, and then Hayley Mills and Hayley Mills's younger brother, and the age groups were right. They were that exact age when she wrote the novel. By the time they went to do the film, they had all grown up. So Hayley Mills ended up playing what was originally written based on her older sister, and then they found two other children who were local to that area, which is up north, to play the younger brother and sister, who, by the way, are phenomenal in those roles. I don't know how they got lucky enough to find them.
Did these kids really based upon them with an experience with a character like Ellen Bates played, or
No. I think just personality-wise.
okay,
Yeah.
So the mom thought her youngest son was Judas? When we were watching it, Dan, you didn't have a reaction because you're not British. But at the Film Institute in London, when we're watching it in this auditorium, when the son says that line about "you cow," he calls her a cow, which is a huge insult, and the whole audience just starts busting up laughing because it's just the most inappropriate thing for this little boy to say. And he's like, "You're such a cow." I don't remember the right line, but he used the word cow, and it got this huge laughter. And so it's really interesting, seeing it from that point of view as well. And then Hayley Mills talked also about Bernard Lee, saying that he was a really, really fun guy, but he liked to drink. Not the mushroom. Fun guy, not the mushroom.
Fun person, yes, a jovial person to have around. Not fun guy. Thank you, Dan. But she said that after shooting every night, they'd be at the hotel and he'd have dinner and drink it up with everybody, and it'd be a blast and sing songs. He liked to play the piano for everyone, and then she said he had a real difficult time getting up to his room every night. And then the next morning, he'd be on set and ready to go. Which is really funny because in the film, he's so stern and serious, But as a person, she said he was the most lovely man, and he would play piano and drink and sing and then stumble up the stairs to his room.
that fits a lot of actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know a lot about Alan Bates, and so when you said, "Oh, Alan Bates is in that," I said, "Yeah, he is," but I realized like I'd seen him in Gosford Park. This was in the '90s, and so I didn't have a lot of experience with him, but he was so good. You know what? Everyone was so good in this film. The children were amazing, the adults were amazing.
Dude, even the cats were amazing. They stayed in the box. I mean, they did try to crawl out. But man, they were in the box.
Alan Bates, while he made movies, he never left the theater. He always returned to the theater. Theater was his biggest love of it all. And we've enjoyed Alan Bates since 1962 or whenever this movie was made, watching his movies. And like I said earlier, he liked to concentrate on not the big box office things. He was more interested in the character that he was playing than box office fame or any of that kind of stuff. But he wanted to be an actor since he was 11 years old. And that's when he first decided to be an actor. And by the time he was 21 or something, he was making a living in the theater in London.
Wow. Yeah. He was great. I think that the ending scene, whether it was his choice or the director's choice or both or the writer, or all of them combined, was such a powerful choice that he didn't say anything. If you notice, his character gives nothing away. It's all internal as they're walking him to the cars at the end. There's no dialogue and there's no look. He doesn't look. There's no look. There's no wink. There's no everything's going to be okay. There's nothing, right? And it gives the audience their own, leaves it to the audience member to have their own interpretation.
So he was trained in soap opera acting. You give the
Why are you
look.
here?
For levity.